Hi guys, okay, so I'm branching out a little bit from the IB and going to work on the Edexcel IGCSE past papers, and I'll make full worked solutions for these papers and put them on YouTube. They'll all be free. I'm going to start at 2018 because this is where this is when the course changed, and I'll make them all up until the most recent papers as they come out. Okay, so this, guys, is the front page. You should be familiar with this. Look, you must have read all this. These are the things you need to bring to your exam. These are the instructions, information. It is 100 marks. It is 2 hours, and there's a paper 1 and a paper 2, some advice, and then you get a formula sheet. Make sure you know this formula sheet inside out, or at least you know which formula you're given and which formula you're not given. You actually don't need to know it inside out because you're given it, but it's important that you know if a volume of a sphere question comes up, there is a formula for the volume of a sphere right here at the start. Okay, so let's begin. 20 questions, guys. Show you're working. That is important. So first question, there's weights of parcels given in this frequency table, and part A says write down the modal class for 1 mark. Okay, so the modal class, you're probably familiar with the word mode. Mode is the most common. Which is the most common weight of parcels? Well, it's this one. It's between 0 and 1 because the frequency is 19, which means there are 19 parcels with a weight between 0 and 1 kilogram. That kind of makes sense in real life. Most parcels aren't more than 1 kilogram, which is quite heavy. But anyway, this is why, because it's 19. So you write down 0 less than p less than or equal to 1, exactly as you see it here. You don't write 19. That's a kind of common mistake that students make. Part B, work out an estimate for the mean weight of the parcels. Okay, it's an estimate, guys, because we actually don't know the weight of any parcel. We just know they're between two numbers, so between 0 and 1 or 1 and 2. So the way we get an estimate is we just say, well, let's assume all 19 parcels have a weight of 0.5. Hence, I'll call this a midpoint, and I'll say this is 0.5. So we do a midpoint of all of these. So the middle of this is 0.5. The middle of this is 1.5. The middle of this is 2.5. Now, if the numbers are more complicated, guys, you just add them. 2 plus 3 and divide by 2. 3 plus 4 and divide by 2. And 4 plus 5 divided by 2 is 4.5. Then we say, because we want to get a mean, we're going to have to multiply by the frequency, because this happens 19 times, this happens 12 times, this happens 5 times, etc. So I'm going to do another column. I'm going to call it M times F for midpoint times frequency, and I'm going to multiply these two. You can use your calculator. I'm going to do it in my head if I can. 9.5, this times this is 18, 5 times this is 12.5, 7 and 9. Then the mean is all of these added together, 9.5 plus 18 plus 12.5 plus 7 plus 9 all over 40, and that gives me, take out your calculator, this function, guys. By the way, this calculator is probably the best calculator for the IGCSE, so if you don't have one, get one. 9.5 plus 18 plus 12.5 plus 7 plus 9 all over 40. Press enter. 7 over 5. Press this button to turn it into a decimal, so 1.4. And they have a nice little box for you to write it, and they even give you kilograms, and that's worth 4 marks, so not a bad 4 marks. Okay, question 2. So it says, this is quite a tricky question, guys, for a question 2, but it says there are some people in the cinema. 3/5 of the people are children, so I like to just underline 3/5 are children. For the children, number of girls to number of boys is 2 to 7, and there are 170 girls in the cinema, and I need to work out the number of adults in the cinema. Okay, so 2 to 7, this is my boys to girls. Now they tell us there's 100 and, no, sorry, that's wrong. It's girls to boys. They tell us there's 170 girls in the cinema. So what is the kind of equivalent ratio? 2 to 7 is the same as 170 to what? Now the way to figure that out, guys, is you go, okay, what did I multiply 2 by to get 170? The answer is 85. So I need to multiply this by 85. That's times 85 times 85. This times 85 to give me the number of boys. 7 times 85. So this is 595. 595. Okay, so there's that many girls and that many boys. So children, the total children equals 170 plus 595. I can do that in my head, guys. I think that will be 765. 765. So there's that many children. Now he says 3/5 of the people are children. So 3/5 of the total. 3/5 of total equals 765. Now if you want to use an x here, you can, guys. You can say 3/5 x equals 765 and solve that. I'm just going to do it without using the x. I'm going to say 3/5 of the total is 765, which means 1/5 of total equals, so if this is 3/5, 1/5 will be that divided by 3. So 765 divided by 3. 255. 255. If that's 3/5, then 1/5 is that divided by 3. And then if 3/5 are children, then look, 2/5 are adults, because we only have children or adults. So 3/5 are children, 2/5 are adults. So 2/5 of total. I wouldn't write, guys, 2/5 equals, like I'd never write 1/5 equals 255, because that it doesn't, 1/5 doesn't equal, it's 1/5 of the total. So 2/5 of the total equal this times 2, which is 510. So that's the answer, and it's 5 marks, guys. I can just write down here 510. Okay, question 3. Simplify this. 1 mark means I don't have to show any working. So it is just y to the power 14. Hopefully you know this, guys. Rules of indices, add the powers. 5 plus 9 is 14. This one, guys, this question I've seen people get wrong so many times. They forget to cube the 2, or sorry, to make 2 to the power 4. So it's 2 to the power 4 and m cubed to the power 4. 2 to the power 4 is 16. You can do that on your calculator, whereas 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And then m cubed to the power 4, this is another rule of indices, you got to multiply the powers, because it's m cubed times m cubed times m cubed times m cubed, which is actually m to the power of 12. So it's 16m to the power of 12. I'm just going to write the same thing here. You'll get 1 mark for the 16 and 1 mark for the m to the 12. Finally, solve this. Show clear algebraic working. Sorry, it's not finally, guys, but it's the next bit. Okay, so show clear algebraic working. So I'm going to first multiply out this bracket. 5x plus 15, because 5 times x, 5 times 3, equals 3x minus 4. Now, what I want to do is get my x's to one side and the numbers to another side. So I'm going to do 5x minus 3x. I'm going to subtract that 3x. Subtracting 3x from both sides means that I get a minus 3x here and nothing there. And I'm going to do this in one step, guys, if you're okay with it. I'm going to subtract the 15 to this side. So now my x's are on this side, my numbers are on that side. 5 minus 3 is 2, so it's 2x. Minus 4 minus 15 is minus 19. And divide by 2, x is equal to negative 19 over 2. You can leave it like that, or write minus 9.5, which is the same thing. Okay, D. Factorize this. Okay, guys, I've seen maybe 10 different ways of factorizing quadratics. You can do it the way you like, as long as you know how to do it. I like to say what's the factors of x squared? Well, it's x and x. What's the factors of negative 24? Well, or just 24, it's 6 and 4. And then because it's a minus, one has to be plus and one has to be minus. The bigger one is going to be plus because it's plus 2x minus 4x. So these are my two factors. So I'm going to write it, but I have to write it properly like this. In fact, actually, guys, don't put the brackets there. Put the brackets when you write it properly. X plus 6 times x minus 4. And then it says, hence solve this equals 0. Well, it's either x plus 6 equals 0. So x equals negative 6. Or x minus 4 equals 0. X equals 4. So it's x equals minus 6 or 4. Two answers. Okay. Question 4. Write down the numbers that are in the set A. Okay, so A is just what is in this circle here, so that's easy. There's a, well, let's just start from here. You don't have to write them in order. So 6, 4, 2, 12, 3, 1. I just did it around like that, but if you want to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12, absolutely fine. B union C. So that's everything that's in B or in C. So it's all of this and all of this. So it is 1, 3, 9, 7, 11, 5, and 10. Okay, next one. Brian writes down the statement A intersection C. So the intersection is that what's in both equals this funny looking symbol. This is the null set. So it's basically he's saying there's nothing in A intersection C. Is he correct? You must give a reason for your answer. Okay, so he is correct. Yes, he is correct. I'm just going to type here, guys. Obviously, I know you can't do that, but whatever. Yes, he is correct. Because basically there are no numbers that are in both A and C. So there are no common numbers because there are no common numbers, or there are no numbers in both A and C. Okay, fine. That is part B. One of the numbers in the Venn diagram is picked at random. Find the probability that this number is in set C with this little kind of, well, it's a C prime is the correct name for it. So C prime means not in C. Not in C. Okay, so in total, guys, I'll just go up here again. How many numbers are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 numbers. Of the 12 numbers, how many are not in C? Well, there's 2 in C, so that means there's 10 not in C. So the probability is just 10 out of 12. For probability, guys, you actually don't need to simplify. You would get full marks for 10 out of 12, but that is also equal to 5 out of 6, and that's the answer. Okay, Question 5. Write this as an ordinary number. So 10 to the power 4, this is standard form, guys, there's scientific notation. This is just 80,000, because there's 10 to the power 4, this is 10,000, so it's 8 times 10,000. Now guys, on your calculator, you can literally write 8 times 10 to the power 4, like this, and it actually just gives it to you. Okay, then it says work out this and give your answer in standard form. Okay, so guys, I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to type in what I see. So it's 3.5, or actually I'll type it in exactly how it's written. 3.5 times 10 to the power of 5 divided by 7 times 10 to the power of 8. Now, if you didn't have a calculator, this is a difficult question. It's very difficult, but you do have a calculator, so it's actually quite nice. So this is equal to 5 times 10 to the minus 4. It actually gives it to you in standard form. So this is equal to 1 over 2,000. This equals 1 over 2,000, and in standard form it's 5 times 10 to the minus 4. 5 times 10 to the minus 4. So as I say, nice question with your calculator. Question 6. MN and P are points in a circle center. Oh, so basically when I see all this writing, guys, I don't even look at it, because I can see. They're just telling us what they see in the diagram, or what you can see in the diagram. It says work out, it tells us this angle is 90 degrees. If they were a little bit sneakier, guys, and you might see this in a future question, they wouldn't even tell you that that's 90 degrees. But you should know it from circle theorems that the angle in a semicircle, if this is the diameter, that this is always 90 degrees. So just something to be aware of. Anyway, it says work out the circumference of the circle. Give your answers correct to 3 significant figures. Just make sure you do that. Okay, so how do you get the circumference of a circle? A circumference is equal to pi d, pi times the diameter. So that's how we get the circumference of a circle, or 2 pi r, which is obviously the same thing. But I don't have the diameter, do I? So I need to get the diameter. So obviously, guys, this is a mix of different topics. It's a circumference question, but also a Pythagoras question, because this is Pythagoras. To find x, we need to use Pythagoras. So I'm going to do that. Let's do that right here. So I'm going to call mn, let's just call it x. This whole length is x, the full thing. And let me write it up here, guys, sorry. Well, whatever, this is x. Okay, x squared, this is Pythagoras, is equal to 3.5 squared plus 9.7 squared. X squared is equal to, let's do this. 3.5 squared is 12.25. 12.25 plus 9.7 squared. 9.7 squared, which is 94.09. 94.09. X squared is then this plus this, plus 12.25. 106.34. So x, if that's x squared, x is the square root of that. So I'm going to do the square root. Hopefully it will, oops, won't let me do that. Let's try that again. It's the square root of 106.34. 106.34. I should have put answer there, but whatever. 106.34 gives me 10.3121. Okay, now, guys, I'm not going to round yet. I'll have to round a bit, but I'm not going to round to 3 significance figures yet, because this isn't the end of the question. So I'm going to write down 10.3121. 10.3121. I'm going to write enough. 10.3121. You could write a few more if you wanted, but this will be enough. I want enough so that it doesn't mess up my rounding at the end of the question. So this is D. This is my diameter. So circumference is equal to pi times the diameter, which is 10.3121. And I'm going to do this, my answer, times pi. Now pi is down here, shift, and this is, so it's answer times pi, gives me 32.3965, well, 3965. And at this point, I'll round to 3 significant figures, because he wants his answer down here. This to 3 significant figures is 32.4. 32.4. Okay, question 7. Chow bought a boat for this many Hong Kong dollars. The value depreciates by 4% per year. Work out the value of the boat at the end of 3 years, correct to the nearest Hong Kong dollar. Again, guys, there's always a mark for these little rounding parts of the question, so be careful. Okay, so the easiest way to do this by far is to find out the multiplier. What's the multiplier? How can I decrease this by 4%? Well, the way you do it is you multiply by 0.96, because 100% minus 4% is 96%. So that will give me 96% if I multiply by 0.96. But if I want to do it again, for the second year, I'll multiply by 0.96 again. And if I want to do it for the third year, I'll multiply by 0.96 again. So I just do this to the power of 3. And that gives me 160, 123 times 0.96 to the power of 3. And I get 141,557.76. 141,557 0.76. 0.76. Now, as I said, guys, it said correct to the nearest dollar. So if you don't put down 141,558, you won't get the full marks. Okay, part B. Jalina gets a salary increase of 5%. Her salary after the increase, be careful, after the increase is this. Work out Jalina's salary before the increase. So slightly complicated question, guys, because this is what we call reverse percentages. So the increase, this is after the increase. So I'm going to bring in a variable here. I'm going to say, what was it before? Let's call it X. So a bit like the previous example, the Hong Kong dollars. It's going to be X times what would I multiply by to increase by 5%? Well, I multiply by 1.05. That's a multiplication sign, guys, by the way. I'm not using the cross because I don't want to confuse it with the X. So it's 1.05. And it's only 1 year, so it's just to the power of 1. So this something, her original salary, something, times 1.05, now equals 252,000. What was that? Well, all I need to do now is divide this by this. So X is equal to 252,000 divided by 1.05. And that gives me 252,000 divided by 1.05, 240,000 equals 2 240,000. 240,000. Does that make sense in context? I always look at that. Does that make sense? Well, yeah, because she made that much money. That's a good salary, and she got an increase and it went to that, so that makes sense. Okay, question 8. Find the highest common factor of a and b. So a is this, so it's given, a is a number given in its prime factors, so they've kindly given us the prime factors, and b is this. Find the highest common factor. All right, guys, I like to, not everyone does this, but I like to draw no, that's not good. I like to draw a Venn diagram. Okay, so this, let's call this A, let's call this B. So what's common? What can go in the middle? Let me just move this a little bit. Make that a little bit bigger. Okay, well, there's a 3 that's common. So I'll put, let me change the color. I'll put a 3 in the middle. And there's a 7. So there's 1 3, and there's a 7 to the power of 3. So 7 to the power of 3. Just be careful, that's a 7 cubed. So if there's a 7 cubed there, what is left over here? Well, there's a 7 cubed, there's a 3, but there's another 3 to the power of 4 here. So I need to put 3 to the power of 4 there. And that gives me the 3 to the power of 5. There's a 5 here, so I'll put the 5 there, and there's a 7 to the 3, it's here. Then the 2 cubed, there's no 2 in A, so the 2 cubed is here, 2 cubed. And the 3 is there, fine, and the 7 to the 4, well, there's 3 of the 7s here, so I need to put 1 7 there. Okay, guys, if you didn't know what I was talking about there, I suggest you kind of revise this, because it's important you can draw the Venn diagram. But once you have the Venn diagram drawn, these two questions are easy, because the HCF is just what's in the middle. So the HCF is 7 cubed times 3. Now he doesn't say, guys, to leave it like that, so I'm actually going to multiply it out. I'm going to do 7 cubed times 3, 1029. So this is 1029. You can put that there if you want. And the lowest common multiple, we multiply all of these out. So it's 3 to the 4 times 5 times 3 times 7 to the 3 times 2 to the 3 times 7, and that equals 3 to the 4 times 5 times 3 times 7 to the power of 3 times 2 to the power of 3 times 7 gives me this crazy number, 2333, 2333, 7720. 7720. Oh, so that is the lowest common multiple. So it's a very big number, but it's correct. This is how to do it. Okay, next question. It says, and this, by the way, is hard, guys. It says A is this still, B is this still, and C, we don't know what C is, and we need to find P, Q, and R. So first, definitely, let's draw a Venn diagram, but this time there's going to be 3. Okay, that's acceptable. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Delete that. Okay, this is A, B, and C. So we need to fill out this Venn diagram. Okay, first things first. It tells us that the highest common factor of B and C is 2 cubed times 7. Now, this and the fact that from here, we know that, well, what is the only number that's in all three? Well, the only number that's in A, B, and C is 7. So there's a 7, there's a 7 to the power of what? Let's just check. So I'm going to put a 7 there. What's the power? Not quite sure yet. But it says the highest common factor of B and C is 2 cubed times 7. So it has to only be 7 because there isn't another 7 that can go in there because of this. So 7 goes in the middle here. Okay. It then says, well, we know, let's just stick with the 7 here a second. So we know there's a 7 there. This A has a 7 cubed and B has a 7 to the power of 4. So there needs to be a 7 cubed common between these two. Now, a 7 cubed common, there has to be a 7 there. So the only way to get a 7 cubed common is to put a 7 squared here. Now there's a 7 cubed common between A and B. But B has another 7 because it's 7 to the power of 4. So I'm going to put that 7 there. Okay, as I said, guys, this is actually kind of tricky and it's only worth 2 marks. So these are my 7s done. And by the way, I also now know the value of OR. It is 1 because it's 7 to the power of 1. So OR is equal to 1. Let's write that down here. Okay, next number to work with is, well, let's look at the 2's. It says that, again, the highest common factor of B and C is 2 cubed times 7. So I'm going to put a 2 cubed here. There is no 2 in A, so I'm going to put a 2 cubed here, 2 cubed here. But it says there's no 2 in A, but it says the lowest common multiple of A and C is 2 to the 4 times 3 to the 5 times 5 squared times 7 to the 3. So there's another 2 that has to go in C, because now that gives me the 2 to the power 4 in that's the lowest common multiple of A and C. So because there is none here in A. So this 2 to the P, I now have, it is 4. So P is equal to 4. Okay, nearly done. Q goes with the 5s. So let's have a look at the 5s. There is a 5 in A. There's no 5 in B. So there's a 5 in A, and it says, so there's only one 5 in A, and I know there's 5s in C because there's 2 here. So I'm going to put 1 5 here. Let's keep it red. 1 5 here because there's 1 in A, and I know there's definitely 1 in C. And there has to be 2 5s in A and C, so I'm going to put another 5 here. So how many 5s in C? Well, there's 2, which means Q is equal to 2. So I haven't finished my Venn diagram, guys, but I've actually got enough information here. Now, I'm well aware that that's not going to be very easy for you to follow just by listening to me, but you have to try and just take your time and try and figure it out. Try and figure out why all these numbers go here. But if you read A, B, and C, and you read the HCF and LCM, you can see why, hopefully, I came up with those numbers. Okay, question 9. The diagram shows a right-angled triangle. 5 of these are put together. Calculate the perimeter of the shape. 3 significant figures, and it's 5 marks. Okay, a lot of work to do here. So this is 12.8. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to write 12.8, because basically what he wants is the total length, the perimeter is this plus 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 this. You get my point. So first I'm gonna write in all the 12.8s, because this is 12.8, this is 12.8, this is 12.8, this is 12.8, and this is 12.8. So all I need to do now is find out this length here. I need this length. Now, how do I find that length? Well, it's actually this hypotenuse. Let's again use a different color. This is x, and let's say this is y. This pink length would actually be x minus y. So the pink length is x minus y, because it's the full hypotenuse minus this. So this is y, if you like, here, and the full thing is x, so this is actually x minus y. Okay, so first thing to do is obviously, guys, find the values of x and y. I'm just going to do it here just so we can all see it, but guys, you should probably do it here. Anyway, I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA. So I'll do it fairly quickly, guys. It's a right angle triangle, opposite hypotenuse, that is sine. SOHCAHTOA. Which one is the opposite and hypotenuse? Opposite, hypotenuse, it's sine. So I'm going to say sine 72 degrees equals opposite 12.8 over hypotenuse x. Rearrange this and I get x equals 12.8 over sine 72. Now again, some of you are probably thinking, hang on, what did I do there? Well, I multiplied by x, I divided by sine 72. This is correct, guys. Make sure you understand how I've done that. 12.8 divided by sine 72. Okay, so all I need to do is write 12.8 divided by, I even like, guys, to make it look like this. So this divided by sine 72. Am I in radians? Oh, sorry, degrees. Yes, I am in degrees. So that's fine. Press equals. Oops, I didn't close my bracket. Can I go back? Darn. Okay, let's try again. 12.8 divided by sine 72. Close the bracket. Equals 13.4587. 13.4587. That is x. Now let's get y. Same kind of thing, but this time I'm going to use tan, or you could use Pythagoras, guys, or even cos now because you have x, but I'm just going to use tan. I'm going to say, because I have the opposite and the adjacent. Opposite, adjacent. So I'm going to say tan 72 is equal to the opposite 12.8 over the adjacent, which is y. Similar to this, I'm going to say y is equal to 12.8 over tan 72 degrees, and then finally y equals 12.8, I'll just do divided by tan 72, close bracket, 4.1589. 4.1589. Okay, so that's y. But remember, guys, I said the pink thing is x minus y. So I'm going to do, well, let's write x minus y equals 13.4587 minus, let me just move this, minus 4.1589, 4.1589, which is equal to 13.4587. Note, guys, I have not rounded to 3 significant figures yet. I will, but I'm not doing it in the middle of a question. 4.1589, 9.2998, 9.2998. Okay, 9.2998. Okay, that's this length. Is that what I said? Number 2.998. Yes. So this is now 9.2998. I actually will round this, guys, because it's 9.3. 9.3 if you round it up. So that's 9.3. This is 9.3. This is 9.3. This is 9.3, and this is 9.3. So I need to add all of those together. Now note there are, I think, 5 of each, is it? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. So easy. I'm just going to do 5 times 12.8 plus 5 times 9.3, which gives me 22 over 1, or 110.5. So this is 110.5. Now what does he say? 3 significant figures. 110. 110.5 rounded to 3 significant figures would actually be 111. Now I'm not sure if the mark scheme did give that. Just be a little bit careful, guys. If the mark scheme didn't give that, you because if I actually kept it at 9.2998, it would be less than 111. So yeah, I'm actually going to put 110. Guys, I'm going to change this, sorry, to, instead of 9.3, 9.2998. So when you add all of them up, it'll round to 110. Okay, question 10. Cumulative frequency graph, right? So use your graph to find an estimate for the interquartile range. So to get the interquartile range, I need the 2 quartiles. There are 80 films. What's the lower quartile? Well, I need to go to the 20th film. So I go to 20. Let's get a pink marker here. I go to 20. I go across. And I go down. Now this looks to me to be right in between those two. Okay, so that is 101, 102, 102.5. So Q1 equals 102.5. And then Q3, I need to go to 60 because this is 3/4 of 80. So I go to here. That one's more on the line. Draw a line straight down. That's 123. So Q3 is 123. Therefore, the interquartile range is this minus this. So 123 minus 102.5 gives me 20.5. So the interquartile range is 20.5 minutes. Okay. Claire says that more than 35% of these films are over 120 meters long. Is she correct? Give a reason for her answer. Okay, there's 3 marks, guys, so you can't just say yes and expect to get 3 marks, or no. So 120 minutes long. Let's go to 120 minutes. It is here. Now I need to go draw the line up and across. So this is 55. Okay, so how many movies are more than 120 minutes long? Well, it's all of these ones. So 55 to 80. So that's, what is that? 25. So 25 movies are more than 120 minutes long. 25 out of 80 is equal to, that's 25 of the 80 movies, so 25 out of 80, let's do that. 0.3125, 0.3125, or 31.25%. So she said 35% are over 120 minutes long, but no, it's actually 31.25%, so she is wrong. Is she correct? No, she is wrong. Only 31.25% are over 120 minutes. Okay, great, 3 marks. Next question. Expand and simplify, right? Because this is the type of question you should like to see, because there's nothing surprising. You know a question like this is going to probably come in the exam. How do you do it? Well, you need to do 2 first and then the other one. So I'm actually, guys, going to do the second 2 first. You can choose, you could do the first 2 and then multiply by x minus 5, or you can do the second 2 and multiply by this. I'm going to actually multiply these 2 first. So I do my x times x is x squared, x times minus 5 is minus 5x, 3 times x is plus 3x, and 3 times negative 5 is minus 15. This is equal to, well, still 2x minus 1, and then x squared minus 2x minus 15 equals. Now I need to, I'm going to go over here because I'll need space. Now I need to do this times this, plus this times this, plus this times this. So the first times the first times the second, first times the third, and then I have to do this times this, this times this, this times this. Obviously there's loads of chances to make mistakes here with signs and stuff, so be very, very careful. First, 2x times x squared is 2x cubed. 2x times minus 2x is minus 4x squared. 2x times minus 15 is minus 30x. Minus 1 times x squared is minus x squared. Minus 1 times minus 2x is plus 2x. Minus 1 times minus 15 is plus 15. This gives me 2x cubed minus 4x squared minus x squared is minus 5x squared. Minus 30x plus 2x is minus 28x, and then finally plus 15. Do I need to write it down there? No, but watch this. There we go. Okay, next one. Solve this, show you're working clearly, right? Guys, when it says this, and it says give your solutions to 3 significant figures, that what he wants you to do is use the formula. Now, luckily, guys, you were given the formula at the start. Remember I said to know what is on this sheet? Here's the formula, the quadratic equation. Minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4c over 2a. That is the formula. So, luckily for me, I remember that formula from when I learned it when I was a student, and it is this. It's x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, over here, guys, I like to write down a equals 3, b equals 6, c equals -5. They come from a, b, c. Easy. Minus b, minus 6 plus or minus the square root of b squared, 6 squared, minus 4 times a times -5 all over 2 times 3, like this. And that equals -6 plus or minus 36 plus, because minus and minus is plus, 60 all over 6. Now at this stage, guys, you can just put that into your calculator and write down the answer. But watch this. You can, on this calculator, now there's going to be two answers, guys. There'll be -6 plus this and -6 minus this. But you have to show this working. If you just write down the answers, because I'm going to show you now how we can get the answers. If you just write down your answers, you get 0 marks. So you have to show some working. So you show at least that much working. Then if you go into this equation and function, which is a, and then polynomial is 2. A degree of the polynomial is 2 because it's a quadratic. And then you write down here, what is a? Well, a is 3. What is b? b is 6. What is c? c is -5. Press enter and it gives you this. And if I press enter again, it gives me the other one. And it also actually gives me the minimum, and well, there is no maximum. It gives me the minimum, or the y. It gives me the x and y coordinate of the minimum. So I can change this to a decimal. So it equals 0. What did it say? 633, 0.633, and 0.633, and minus 2.6, minus 2.63, minus 2.63. Now I have rounded it. It said 3 significant figures, so I've rounded it to 3 significant figures, and these are the correct answers. Again, look, if you don't write them down here, you're fine. You'll still get full marks, but why not while it's there? Okay, question 12. So write down the solution. So it gives us these two simultaneous equations. It says write down the solution of the simultaneous equations. It says write down, and write down means, guys, we're getting 1 mark. Because it's very easy. It's just where they intersect. So the mid, or where the two lines intersect, is the solution. And the answer is 3, 4. So x is 3, y is 4. Done. Next one. Show by shading on the grid the region defined by all 5 of the inequalities. Right, guys? This is normally a tricky question for sure. So x, what I want to do is I want to actually draw all these lines. So this is, let's call this one x equal 0. X equals 0, by the way, is just the y-axis. That's x equals 0. This line, y equals 0, is the x-axis. Let's call this, or draw this with green. That's this line. This is y equals 0. And then this line, x plus y equals 4. Let's use, okay, Okay, let's use blue. X plus y equals 4. Now I'm drawing the equation, the line. The equation will give me the line, and then I'll deal with the inequalities in a second. So this one, how do you draw a line when it's written like this? Well, one way to do it, guys, is to do it like this. If I write down x and y, and I say, right, when x is 0, just a little table, although your calculator can deal with this as well. When x is 0, what's y? Well, y is 4. So this is a point on the line 0, 4. And when y is 0, you can pick any number here, whatever number you want, but 0 is often the easiest one. When y is 0, what's x? Well, x is 4. So this is a point on the line. So this line actually goes like this, through this point and this point. It goes on like that. So that is the line x plus y equals 4. This line is actually given, it's that one. And this line is given, it's that one. So now I've drawn my 3 lines. Next thing is to find out is, where do I shade? Okay, so one thing to note is there's actually, well, there's a few regions they might actually give us, so we have to be careful. I need to look at each of these. So the first one, x is greater than 0. So this is the line x equals 0. Where am I shading if it's greater than 0? Well, it has to be to the right of the pink line, because it's bigger than 0, so it has to be over here. So it has to be to the right of the pink line. Then it says y is greater than 0, so it has to be above the green line. So those two are easy. It has to be right of pink and above green. This one is slightly more tricky. It says x plus y has to be greater or equal to 4. Now, the way I like to do these, guys, because they still confuse me from time to time, is you pick a point. And the point to pick, the best point to pick, is 0, 0. Consider 0, 0. If I sub in 0, 0, and that's this point here, because for this blue line, I'm either shading down here to the left of the blue line or up here. All I need to know is which one. Is it down here or up there? So I just consider a point. If this point holds true, if 0, 0 is correct, then I'll shade down here. If it's not correct, I'll shade up here. Let's sub it in. To this, we're subbing it in here. 0 plus 0 is greater or equal to 4. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 is greater or equal to 4. Is that true? No, it certainly is not true. So it's not going to be down here. It's going to be over this side of that line. Okay, good. Next line is this. Consider it here. So is 0 less than or equal to 0 plus 6? Is 0 less than or equal to 6? Yes, that is true. So it's going to be, which line is this? That's this line. So it is going to be down here, because 0, 0 is down here. So it's going to be below this line. And I know, guys, there's 5 lines here. So just remember which is which. So below this line, yes. And then finally, for this one, is 0 plus 0 less than or equal to 24. So I'm going to put a little, this one is not true, this one is true, and this one is true. So where do we shade? Well, it has to be, let's let's go back. It has to be to the right of the pink line, above the green line. It has to be to the right of the blue line. It has to be below this line, and it has to be below this line. So it's this. This is what I'm shading here. All right, guys, I'm aware that that is not easy. And take your time trying to figure out exactly how I did it. Okay, why did I choose 0, 0? Just because it's the easiest one to sub in. If you sub in 0, 0 into all of these x and y's, it's very easy to do. But I could have chosen any point. If I chose 1, 1, I'd have had the same thing. Is 1, 1 plus 1 bigger or equal to 4? No. If I subbed 1 in here, is 4 plus 3 less than or equal to 24? Yes, so I've had the same thing. But you can sub in literally any point. You could sub in 10, 10 if you wanted. Okay, that is question 12. Question 13. I recently gave this question on an exam, guys, to my year 9s, I think. And they all put 27 for this angle here. It is not. It is 54. Because, why is that the case? Because angles at the center are double the angle at the circumference. And it does say give a reason, so we're going to have to give a reason. Because angles at the center are double the angle at the circumference. That's when they come from the same 2 points, when they do NM. Okay, then it says find the size of angle NMQ. So NMQ is this, excuse me, this angle. NMQ, it's this angle here. Now this angle here, guys, is actually the same as this angle here because of the alternate segment theorem. So that's kind of the easiest way to do it. You just write 27 because of the alternate segment theorem. Fine. Now, probably what I would consider maybe the more intuitive way to do it, the way I did it first when I saw this question is I saw that's 54 here, and then I know this is an isosceles triangle because they're both radius or radii, so these two have to be the same. So I can figure out these two angles and then subtract it from 90 because these meet at a right angle. You get the same answer, and you can give that reason, explain it. Okay, question 14. Over halfway there. Question 14. Here's a function, f of x, find f minus 7. So f minus 7 is, I sub in negative 7 into this. So it's just 3 times negative 7 minus 5 over 4. You can do this on your calculator. Minus 21 minus 25 is minus 26 over 4. Minus 26 over 4 is minus 6.5. Again, use your calculator. Not too difficult. Part B. Express the inverse function in the form f minus 1 of x. Okay, so to get the inverse function, guys, first you let y equal 3x minus 5 over 4. Then we swap x and y. Swap x and y because that's, by definition, that's what the inverse function is. It's when you change around the domain and the range. So x is equal to 3y minus 5 over 4. And then I solve for this y. So I'm going to multiply by 4. 4x equals 3y minus 5. 3y equals 4x plus 5, adding 5 to the other side. And then y is equal to 4x plus 5 over 3. And I'm going to write it here as 4x plus 5 over 3. Okay, that is part B. Part C, it says, here's g of x, find f g of 3. Okay, so the first thing to do is get g of 3. G of 3 is the square root of 19 minus 3, which is the square root of 16, which is 4. And then f, which is 3x minus 5 over 4. I now need to get f of 4, because I'm getting f of g of 3. So f of this, and this is 4. So let me just get f again. So it's 3x minus 5 over 4. So it's 3 times 4, because I'm getting f of 4, so I'm bringing 4 into this x. So it's 3 times 4 minus 5 over 4, which gives me 12 minus 5 over 4, which is 7 over 4. And well, you can leave it as 7 over 4, or write 1.75 if you want. Final question on question 14. Which values of x cannot be included in any domain of G? So this is G. We have to think, what number can we not put in as x? Because the domain is x. So if you put in 1, that's fine, you get root 17. If you put in 5, you get root 14, that's fine. But what number is a problem? Well, remember, you can't get the square root of a negative number. So we can't have any negative numbers in here. So for example, if I put in 100, what's the square root of 19 minus 100? Well, that will give me the square root of minus 81. This cannot happen. I cannot get the square root of a negative number. So minus 100 is not okay. I can't put in minus 100. But this, or sorry, I can't put in 100 because there's a minus there. I can't put in 1,000. I can't put in 1,000,000. I can't put in 43.7. I can't put in any number bigger than 19, because if I put in a number, so the x values that cannot be included, x cannot be greater than 19. I'm just going to write that here. I'll explain it one more time. Because if I put a number in here bigger than 19, like even 19.1, if I put in 19.1, I'm going to get the square root of 19 minus 19.1, which is the square root of minus 0.1, which I can't have. So anything bigger than 19, 19.00001 or 25 or whatever, will, what I say, break the machine. It will break this function, so you can't put it in. And that's what he's asking. Okay, that's question 14. Question 15. So we are asked to simplify this, and this looks pretty horrible, but if we know our rules of indices, it's hopefully not too bad. So this becomes, okay, the first rule that we need to see is that all of this, what's in the bracket, is raised to a negative power. Now if you have a negative power, what we do is we flip this, so we flip it upside down, so it's y to the 8 over 256x to the 20. So I flip this, or get the reciprocal is the technical word, and oops, instead of negative a quarter, it's now to the power of a quarter. Then the next rule that we know is if you've a power raised to another power, we multiply the powers. So y to the 8 to the power of a quarter is y to the 8 times a quarter. We multiply these two powers, and 8 times a quarter is 2. So the numerator is actually going to be y squared. And then I have to do the same thing with the x. I'll do the x first, guys. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about this. So it's x to the 20 to the power of a quarter. I multiply 20 by a quarter, which is 5. 20 times a quarter is 5. And then this guy, 256 to the power of a quarter. Right, so without a calculator, I can do that without a calculator, guys. It's actually the fourth root of 256. Is what number do I multiply by itself? 4 times will give me 256. The answer is 4, because 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 is 256. Now I know that maybe, because I'm a maths teacher, maybe you could have guessed that, but not to worry, you have a calculator. So if in doubt, in fact, even if I was doing the exam, I'd do this just to check. 256 to the power of, which is this button, and then put a quarter in here. And there we go, 4. So that's the answer. Y squared over 4x to the 5. Okay, that's 15a. 15b. Express this as a single fraction in its simplest form. Okay, if you don't like algebra and fractions, guys, you're not gonna like this. But if you do, this is a nice question. I am going to enjoy this question. So how do we do it? Well, firstly, there's a lot of things going on. I need to factorize the denominator here, and I need to factorize this denominator as well. So to factorize this, I need to recognize, so let's just do this term first. I need to recognize that this is a difference of 2 squares. So this is actually, I'll just do it over here. Well, difference of 2 squares rule, guys, is if I have a squared minus b squared, this equals a plus b times a minus b. Yes, you should know that. If not, learn it. If you multiply these out the long way, you'll find that you get this. So these two things are equal. So I'm going to apply this rule to this. But this isn't exactly a squared minus b squared. It's 3x in a bracket squared. So that's going to be like my a. It's this squared minus 5 squared, because 5 squared is 25. So 3x all squared is 9x squared. 5 squared is 25. So I can apply this rule here, which gives me 3x plus 5 and times 3x minus 5. Now, if you don't believe me that that's true, literally just multiply it out. Do this times this, this times this, this times this, this times this, and you will get 9x squared minus 25. So I'm going to write that here, 3x plus 5 times 3x minus 5. And then you'll see, guys, how this is similar, because when I factorize this, I take out, the only thing I can take out is a 2. So I factorize out a 2 because it's in this 6 and 10. And when I take out the 2 here, I get 3x plus 5. That is factorizing this. Okay, now look, there's a 3x plus 5 in both terms. So what is the lowest common denominator? I need to get a denominator that's in this and this, or that all of this goes into and all of this goes into. So I have to include 3x plus 5 and 3x minus 5. The 3x plus 5 is included, so that's fine, but I have to include the 2. So this is actually going to be 2, this is my denominator, into 3x plus 5 and 3x minus 5. Now this denominator now includes all of these terms. It includes this, 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 and this. And I'm going to put a line under over it. So this is the denominator. Then I say, right, this is like equivalent fractions. What do I multiply this by to get this? Well, it's just 2. So I have to do 2 times 1 is 2. And then minus here. What do I multiply this denominator by to get this? Well, it's 3x minus 5. So I need to multiply the top by 3x minus 5. Now be careful, there's a minus here. So I need a 3x minus 5 in brackets there. Okay, nearly done. So I have, this is going to be, the top is 2 minus minus 5. So just be careful, guys. I'm gonna go straight into the final answer here. 2 minus minus 5 is 2 plus 5. Minus minus is plus, so it's going to be 7. Then minus 3x all over this. 2 times 3x plus 5 times 3x minus 5. Okay, obviously, guys, that's not an easy question. Even just to see that bit at the beginning, a lot of students for sure would have missed that. This comes up a lot, guys. Difference of two squares, know how to use it and know how to recognize it. And then the rest, well, certainly isn't easy, but it's algebraic fractions, which you need to practice. Okay, that's 15. Question 16. Okay, this, guys, is hard. This is a hard question. So we have a cone and we have this frustum, which is, well, clearly what it is this small cone has been removed. It says the large cone has base, radius r, and height h. Given that the volume of the frustum over the volume of the large cone is 98 over 125, find an expression in terms of h for the height of the frustum. So I want to find this height is, I guess, what we're looking for. I won't call it h, I'll call it capital H. Okay, so if the volume of the frustum, so this is the first step, guys. If the volume of the frustum over the volume of the large cone is 98 over 125, that means that this cone, which has been removed, the volume of this, because this is a similar shapes question. It's obviously a similar shapes question because it has the words mathematically similar in it. So I don't really want to be dealing with this, with the frustum. I'd prefer to be dealing with the two cones, the small cone and the bigger cone. So if this ratio, the volume of the frustum of the large cone is 98 over 125, the volume of the small cone over the volume of the large cone must equal 27 over 125. Now, I think that's possibly the well, it's the hardest bit of the question to see, but once you see this, the rest of it is, well, doable. Because look, if there's been a bit taken away, how much has been taken away? Well, 27, because 125 over 125, that's the full thing, the full cone. If I take away 27 over 125, if I take away 27 whatever of the volume, I get 98 over 125. So that means that the ratio of the small cone is 27 over 125. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Then that means my volume factor. So I talk a lot about, guys, scale factor, area factor, volume factor. The volume factor is, well, it's this ratio. It's the ratio of either the large cone over the small cone or the small cone over the large cone. And the volume factor is 27 over 125. And if the volume factor is this, the scale factor is the cubed root of this, because to get the volume factor, you cube the scale factor. So to get the scale factor from the volume factor, you cube root it. What's the cube root of this? do it on your calculator if you want, guys, but it's 3/5. And to be honest, the way I figured out how to do this question is as soon as I figured out it was 27/125, I recognized, I could see the 3/5 when I cube rooted it. Those are 27 and 125 are, well, they're cube numbers, and they fit nicely. Often they come up in different types of questions. So the scale factor of the small cone to the large cone is 3/5, or I should say from the large cone to the small cone, but the ratio of the volume of the small cone to the large cone is 3/5. You get my point. So if the ratio of the small cone to the large cone is 3/5, then that means this height here, the height of the cone, has to be 3/5 of h. It is certainly less than h. How much less than h? Well, exactly 3/5 less than h, because the scale factor is 3/5, which means what's left, if there's 3/5 in the small cone, what's left here? Well, it has to be 2/5 of h. So this is 3/5 of h, and this is 2/5 of h. It may not look like that. It actually looks like this is bigger, but it says diagram is not accurately drawn. So the height of the frustum is 2/5 h. Okay, obviously, guys, that's not an easy question. It's a challenging question, but again, hopefully that explanation makes sense. Right, question 17. Okay, vectors. A, B, C, D, this is a parallelogram. AB is 2, 7, so that vector there is 2, 7. Let's actually write that in there. That is 2, 7 going from A to B. AC is 10, 11. Let's actually put that in as well, guys, why not? So going from A to C, we have 10, 11. Work out the coordinates of C. Okay, sorry, it gives us the coordinates of B. B is 5, 8. This coordinate here is 5, 8. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means if I want to go from B, well, if I want to go from A to C, what I do is I go AB, hang on, let me get this straight. I go A, B, plus B, C. AB plus BC has to equal AC. So from here to here plus here to here has to equal AC. Now, AB we know is 2, 7. So 2, 7 plus B to C, which I don't know. Let's call it I don't know. Let's call it X, Y, is equal to AC, which is 10, 11. Which means X, Y, this vector, which is BC, has to equal this minus this, which is 10 minus 2 is 10 minus 2 is 8, sorry, obviously 8, and 11 minus 7 is 4. So the vector BC, this is BC, is 8, 4. Okay, once I have the vector BC, I can then find the coordinates of C by just adding it onto 5, 8. Because if I'm at 5, 8, and I add 8, 4. If I add 8, 4 onto my 4, 8, because I'm here now, I'm going to add 8, 4, so I'm going to go along 8 and up 4. I'm going to get to 13, 12. I keep doing that, which is the point. So I need to then put here 13 is my x coordinate and 12 is my y coordinate. Okay, part B. It then says point E has coordinates 63, 211. Use a vector method to prove that ABE is a straight line. Okay, if ABE is a straight line, that means that, so let's look at this. E is 63, 211. So it's obviously somewhere way up here, right? So let's just pretend it's, I don't know, off the, way off the page. But if it's a straight line, then it should go up. Well, let me put it here. If it's a straight line, then A to B and B to E, this is E, A, B, and BE should be parallel. Because if they're parallel, then obviously it's a straight line. Because if you go from A to B and you don't change direction and then you go from B to another point, that just gives you one straight line. So the key to this question is to recognize that AB and BE must be parallel. So I'm actually going to write that down. Straight line, a straight line if AB, vector AB, and vector BE are parallel. Now we will be able to show they're parallel, hopefully. So AB is equal to 2, 7. So if I can show that BE is equal to some multiple of 2, 7, I have shown that they are parallel and hence it's a straight line. So what is BE? So BE is, to get BE, I can take away the coordinates. So I can go 211, 63 minus, that's E, and I'm going to subtract B, which I have is 5, 8. 5, 8. I can do that because if I subtract them, let me give you a random example here. Imagine this is 1, 2, and this, well, sorry, imagine this point is 1, 2, and this point here is, I don't know, 7, 5. Then I can find this vector by subtracting them, because if I do 7 minus 1, that tells me how far over I've gone, which is 6. So this vector has to be 6. And if I do 5 minus 2, it tells me how far vertically I've gone. 5 minus 2 is 3. So this vector would be 6, 3. So I'm going to use the same principle here. I'm going to do this minus this. 211 minus 5 is equal to 206. Is that correct? Yes. And 63 minus 8 is equal to 55. Now, is this a multiple of 2, 7? Guys, have I done that correct? Let me just check. 211. Sorry, I've put these the wrong way around, guys. I could see I made an error there, so let me just delete all this. This is the y coordinate. What, guys, that diagram there that I did was correct, by the way, but it's x, y, so I just did something silly there. So it's 63, 211 minus the b coordinate, which is 5, 8. 5, 8. And this gives me 63 minus 5 is 58, and 211 minus 8 is 203. Okay, now is this a multiple of this? So the way we figure that out, guys, is basically 58 divided by 2 is 19. So I'm going to put 19 there, and this has to be 2. Now this, guys, it's true if I can put a 7 here. I don't actually know if I can without my calculator. So if I can say 203 divided by, if I can do 203 divided by 19, if this gives me 7, which it doesn't. Okay, sorry guys, I've done another ridiculously stupid mistake. It's not 19, it's 29. This is 29. Okay, it's late. I'm doing this, guys, late at night. I'm tired. Right, so it's 58 divided by 2 is 29. So hopefully now 7 times 29 will give me that. Let's see, 203 divided by 29 is 7. Thank you. Okay, this goes here. Now, because this is a multiple of this, so I can write it as this. 29 times 2, 7 gives me this. That means that the vectors are parallel, because look, if this vector is going that direction and this is just a multiple of that, it just means it's a bigger, a longer vector, and it's going the same direction, and they both pass through the same point, hence it's a straight line. So I can write down a final kind of conclusion as BE is a multiple of AB, as BE is a multiple of AB, ABE, or the vectors are parallel, and as they both go through E, ABE is a straight line. Now obviously, guys, it's 2 marks for that, and I certainly spent longer than 2 minutes on it, and I probably gave more detail than they required, but that's kind of like the very, very definitely, that is a definite 2 marks because it's a good proof. And sometimes they might actually give 3 marks for a question like that. But the main thing, the main thing they want you to note is that if AB is 2, 7, BE is a multiple of 2, 7, hence they're parallel. Okay, question 18. The diagram shows the curve with equation y equals fx. It gives us the minimum point. Write down the coordinates of the minimum point of the curve with equation this, right? So guys, this is just testing your understanding of transformations, graph transformations. So what does f of x minus 5 do when you subtract 5 in the bracket? What does it do to the graph? Well, it moves the graph 5 units to the right. So it moves it over here. And what's this point then? Well, minus 2 plus 5 is 3, and the minus 1 stays the same because we're not moving it up or down. So it's just 3, negative 1. Y equals a half fx. What does the half outside the fx do? Well, it halves when we multiply the y coordinates by a half. It halves the y coordinate. So the x coordinate stays the same, and the y coordinate gets halved. So it actually goes to here, which would be negative a half, because it's just a half of 1, negative a half, or half of negative 1. Okay, that's part A. Part B gives us a graph of sine a sine x minus b degrees plus c, and it says find the value of a, b, and c. Okay, guys, when I get these graphs, one of the first things I like to do is draw this line through the middle. This is called the principal axis. Sometimes it is referred to. Now, A is the amplitude. So the amplitude is essentially this height. It's the height from the middle to the top, or from the middle to the bottom. So it's just, what's this height? It goes, be careful guys, it's not 3 because it's at 3. It goes from 1 to 3. So the height is actually 2. So that height is 2. The amplitude is 2. Or you can sometimes say max minus min. Max minus min over 2, which is 3 minus the min. Now these are the y coordinates of the min. So the maximum is 3. The minimum is -1. So it's 3 minus -1 over 2, which is 4 over 2, which is 2. B. What is B? Well, B is how much we've moved it, or how much this graph has been moved to the right. Now, a normal sine graph, guys, starts here, starts at 0, 0, and then goes up, reaches its max at 90, comes down, goes through there, and will reach its min at 270. Might as well finish drawing it now, guys. Oops. Well, you get my point. It'll go down here and back to there. So down to there. And back to here. This would be a normal sine graph. But our graph has been moved to the right. How much to the right has it been moved? Well, it's been moved exactly. You can see it. This point has been moved to here. This is like the start of, and this point has been moved to here. How much has it been moved? Well, what's that distance there? And what's this distance here? It is just 90. That distance is 90. Hence B is 90. You don't have to put the degrees because the degrees is there. And then finally the C. Well, the C is actually this value here. It's this is 1, and this equation is y equals 1. So the C is actually the equation of the principal axis, because it's what what does the C do? Well, it moves the graph up. So this graph, the sine graph, normally starts at 0 and it's being moved up to 1, so hence the C is 1. Okay, that's question 18. Nearly done, guys. Jack plays a game with 2 fair spinners, A and B. Spinner A can land on 2, 3, 5, 7. Spinner B can land on 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. He spins both spinners. He wins the game if one spinner lands on an odd number and the other spinner lands on an even number. He plays the game twice. Work out the probability that he wins both times. Right, certainly not an easy question, guys. You don't have to do this, I would draw a Venn diagram. Okay, so sorry, not a Venn diagram, a tree diagram, because we are going to spin A and B. So I'm going to draw a tree diagram. Now spinner A, this is, let's say A, can land on an odd number. It can land on an odd number or an even number. Now what is the probability that A lands on an odd number? Well, there's 3 odd numbers, 1, 2, 3, and there's 1 even number, but 4 in total. So the probability of landing on odd is 3 over 4, and the probability of landing on even is 1 out of 4. So that's for spinner A. And then I have to do the same for spinner B. This is odd and even. And guys, I'm just gonna bring this down a bit. Obviously I have the luxury of being able to do that, guys. You just make sure you have plenty space. So this is spinner A, sorry, that's B, and this is A. Okay, and then if it's even, this is odd, even. Now for spinner B, it is 1, 2, 3 even numbers and 2 odd numbers. So it's 2 out of 5 for odd, because 1, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5 for even, 2 out of 5 for odd, and 3 out of 5 for even. These don't change, guys. They're not actually dependent on spinner A, so I can just leave them like that. Now, the reason I've drawn the tree diagram is because it's slightly confusing, because he wins if one spinner lands on odd and the other spinner lands on even. So the ways he can win is if he gets odd, and let's do this, odd and even, or even and odd. They're the two ways he can win. He needs an odd in A and an even in B, or an even in A and an odd in B, because that would be, look, it says it here, an odd number on one and an even number on the other. Okay, now how do I do these? Well, I just multiply. 3/4 times 3/5 is, well, I'll do it down here. 3/4 times 3/5 is equal to 9/20, and then 1/4 times 2/5, 1/4 times 2/5 is equal to 2/20. And I need to add these two. So the probability, an odd, and an even, so that's whichever way it happens, is going to be this plus this, 9/20 plus 2/20, which is 11/20. Now I'm not done yet. That's the probability that if he spins A and B, he'll get an odd number and an even number. But, as if it wasn't hard enough, Jack says he's going to play the game twice. So, he needs to win it both times. He's playing it twice. It's completely independent. So I can just multiply, or just square this, multiply this by itself. So the probability, I'm just going to write he wins twice equals 11/20 times 11/20, or squared, which gives me 121/400. Okay, nearly done. Last question. Question 20. ABC is an isosceles triangle such that AB equals AC. Guys, without even thinking, I'm going to draw that. Here's an isosceles triangle. If you get the opportunity to draw something, go for it. So AB and AC, so that means A is at the top, because AB and AC, these are the two lines that are the same. A has coordinates 4, 37. And BC lies on the line with equation 3y equals 2x plus 12. Okay, find an equation for the line of symmetry of the triangle ABC, right? Obviously, guys, again, this is the last question. It's not supposed to be easy. It's hard, but he wants the equation of this line. Okay, how do I do it? Well, to get the equation of a line, you need two things. You need a point and you need the gradient. The first thing I'm going to get is the point. So what is this point here? Well, I know the x coordinate of the point. The x coordinate of the point is 4, because it is okay, actually, hang on. Do I know that? AB. Hang on a second. Yeah, actually, sorry, I don't know that. the first thing I'm going to get is the gradient of this green line. Now to get the gradient of the green line, I'm first going to get the gradient of the orange line. The orange line goes through B and C like this. And if I get the equation of the orange line, I can get the negative reciprocal if I get the gradient, the gradient of the orange line, I can get the negative reciprocal, which will give me the gradient of the orange line. So let's do that. 3y equals 2x plus 12. Y is equal to 2 over 3x plus 4. I'm dividing everything by 3. So I divide this by 3, giving me 2 over 3. And I divide this by 3, giving me 4. So the equation of this line, is this, which means the gradient of this line, the m of this line, is equal to 2 over 3. The m of this line, let's call it m perpendicular, has to be the negative reciprocal. If you remember how to use yeah, sorry, I don't need this point because I can just use this point. That was my mistake before. Anyway, the gradient of this line is negative 3 over 2 because you probably remember this from earlier years. If you have a gradient, the perpendicular is the negative reciprocal. So I flip this upside down and change the sign. Now I have the gradient for the green line, m 3 over 2, or negative 3 over 2. And my point, I was thinking I needed this point, but I don't, because this point, 437, is also on the green line, because the green line goes through it. So the point is 437. Right, now once I have those, I can get the equation of a line. Now guys, there's two ways to do this. You can do y equals mx plus c and sub in the point, or you can use the formula. I prefer this formula, to be honest, because it gives you the equation straight away. Y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. I recommend my students to learn this formula. You can also use y equals mx plus c, sub in your m, sub in your point 437, and you'll find c. But I'll just show you how to use this one while I have it. So it's y minus the point is 37 equals m, negative 3 over 2, into x minus 4, because 4 is x1. Then, well, as I say, the reason I like this formula and to use it for the equation of the line is because now I have the equation of the line without having to do any manipulation. I have it. Now he's asked me to give it in this form, so I will have to do manipulation anyway, but I would have had to do it with this y equals mx plus c2 because yeah, he wants it in this strange form. But if you didn't say in a particular form, you'd be done. That's the answer. Anyway, p, q, and r are integers, which means they're whole numbers, so I can't have this 3 over 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply both sides by 2, which will give me 2y minus 74 equals minus 3 into x minus 4, because the 2, because I multiply across by 2, this 2 disappears, or it cancels. I'm going to multiply out the bracket. 2y minus 74 equals minus 3x plus 12, and then he wants px, so I'm going to add 3x to this side. I'm going to keep this plus 2y here, and I'm going to say it equals 12 plus 74, because I'm going to add 74 to this side, giving me 86. And that, guys, is thankfully the paper done. 3x plus 2y 86. And there are no, always check, are there any more questions? No, there are not. This is the same paper. So we're done. Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I will do paper 2 next.